So check this out. So really simply, the first thing you do on whatever your approach is, let's say you're in a cafe, let's say you're at a bookstore, let's say you're actually at a bar or a lounge, you get a little bit closer and you hold your ground. All right? Now, every guy that I've talked to says, well, what do I say? What do I say next? What do I say next? The exercise, the point of this exercise is that you wait a beat and you don't say anything. And then we'll get to what you say, actually in a few minutes.
Yes.
But that is key. If you can learn how to do that, to get over that, to get over when you approach a split second where she's like, just like that.
Yeah.
And all of you guys out there watching, what are you going to say next? Well, you don't react to it. You know, you actually just say, no. Like, why would you feel this way? You know, that's the portrait you're trying to paint. It's like, oh, I came up to like, what? Why are you getting nervous? Like, all right, well, hey, I was just asking you where a good place to eat was, but you know, that's an interesting smile on your face, or whatever. You know, you continue to move along, because remember also sexuality. Since we're starting off in sexuality, it has a calm and confident and paced demeanor. So the next thing that I want you to get is the situation, which is exactly what we talked about. We brought up a bookstore before. You can do a cafe, bar and lounge, whatever. First off, you want to pick your situations of where you're gonna, what you're doing. The best advice that I ever got in terms of women was do what you love to do, and the right people are gonna come into your life. So don't compensate that. If you're a guy and you're in your 40s and you like going to clubs, go to clubs. But your situation fundamentally has to have this as an older man, especially going along these lines, is it has to promote intimacy and isolation. All right, so we're not talking to a group, we're not entertaining, we're not being a part of her peer group. In fact, her tribe or whatever is all this, right? And we're coming in from the outside and we're saying, hey, what's all this?
Well, that's the beauty of your position. You know, that is exactly your advantage.
Right.
Again, like we said already before, you have to remember these things during your approach.
Exactly.
Because this will empower you when you're about to do that.
So the better way we can set that up is, look, pick your venues. If you are going to a club, you're not going to be wanting to talk to the group. Then you're playing a completely different game. You're taking away from all these natural advantages, right? What you got to think of is, look, can I have immediate intimacy and immediate isolation with this girl? That's what my venue has to have. If I can have immediate intimacy and immediate isolation, those things that we're talking about that are natural advantages are already going to spike up. That arousal is going to immediately happen. If we get closer and we smile, we pause at the right times and use our lower energy, sexuality, all that fun stuff, right? If we start to do that, it will be felt, right? And it will be aroused. If we can get a girl to feel that in the beginning, then we put ourselves on autopilot. She will essentially do a lot of the work. The concept that we're having here is a little bit different. Masculinity's leadership quality is actually there to assert itself and then draw the parts out of a woman that you like as a man, and then let her know you like them. So how can we set up this dynamic where immediately we can say a few things, do a few things, you know, the way we communicate in like 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, to where she's gonna put part of herself out and say, hey, I like that. Basically what's going to happen is there's many different variables and forms of these things, but we're going to ask something. We're going to ask a question that's based on a certain topic that's a strong point for us. So if you're a guy that's a really passionate guy, you're going to talk about that. If you're a guy that likes the idea of masculinity and femininity, you're going to talk about that. You can talk about this stuff in the daytime. If you're even a guy that is comfortable with sensuality or seduction or whatever, you can even talk about that in the daytime. But, you know, only if you're really comfortable with it. But we're going to talk about whatever strong point topics we have. It could be our family or whatever, but they're important things. So we pick that topic, and then what we're going to do is we're going to ask a question based off of it. And then we're going to tell a story about ourselves, and then we're going to ask another question. So here's an example. Let's pick passions. And so you can say, you know what, you seem a little bit startled, you know, whatever. But Like, let me ask you something. You seem like you have a unique perspective on stuff, or I don't know how old you are, or whatever. Don't worry about that. But let me ask you something. What would you say passions are? All right. So she doesn't answer the question. She's still flustered. You're just going to come in and tell your story. Your story is going to be 10 seconds long, 15 seconds long. It can be fairly general even. And so you just say, you know what? See, the reason why I asked that question is because, like, passions, I think, are different for people in different lives, like, or at different points in their life. Like, for myself, I kind of have known what I wanted for a long time and have been able to get it, but at the same time, then had to go back and look at different things in my life. But for yourself, that's what I kind of want to know. So let me ask you something. Then we ask the next question, which could be, again, the same thing. What is it that you're passionate about? Or what is it that drives you? So it'll go as simply as this, as we ask, the don't mean to startle you, remember we approach it, don't mean to startle you. Let me ask you something. Look, you seem like you might have a unique perspective on this, but what does passion mean to you? Again, didn't mean to put you off, but what I mean by that is, look, I'm somebody that has gotten to do a lot of things that I want in my life, and I don't mean that in a bragging way, but at the same time I realized that wasn't really what I wanted. So let me ask you something again. What is your perspective on that? What is your perspective on, like, you're truly what you want? And what's going to happen again is she could answer, or she could say, why are you asking this? She could say any of these things. She could be a little bit flustered. And then all you're going to do is say, you know what? I actually think you're somebody that has a unique perspective, like a good perspective on these things. Like, you should actually talk. Like, what is it that you'd like to do when you're not reading books at a bookstore? All right? And at that point, we've asserted ourselves so much to the point where we've gotten a reaction out of her, and we can say what that reaction meant to us. You know what? You're somebody that I would uniquely, intimately want to know, right?
Yeah.
And so when we go back to it, look, we're asserting ourselves. It gets a little bit nervous. Our confidence mellows it out. Then, because of our situation, our venue has already picked intimacy and isolation. When we're talking, we're going to get a part of her, maybe an answer, maybe something from her, a reaction, and we're going to say how much we like it or how that defines things. But we can get more into the structure of, like, these patterns, these communication patterns, and get into the details of them. There's a whole bunch of them that we have. But they're fairly simple, and they're excellent tools to generate, like, an immediate rapport with somebody.
Yeah, and a lot of this advice, what's really great is that it's very relevant for a lot of men, a lot of people.
Right.
But what makes us very particular about dealing with folks or men who are older in their 40s or 50s is that the other videos that we've did before this, the other two, really help you stay conscious of your advantage, and then you overlap with a lot of these things that are very good socially anyway, very good communication tools anyway.
Yeah.
But with the consciousness of your advantage, particularly as an older man. So
yeah, absolutely.
So you got to understand that a lot of these things will overlap, but remember the context in which we're talking to you in, and that you're seeking out.
Get on our email list. Look, talk to us. We're really accessible people. We have an excellent video series that, look, if you're a part of if you're a part of our family, you can be a part of. And then, look, if you want to work with us live in field, we have the best workshop out there. 6 days, complete lifestyle. You can be yourself. You don't have to be some guy that you're not. We're going to figure out how to find the best parts about you, take apart the things that you don't like, and put it back together in the best way that you can show yourself to somebody.
In the field, multidimensional.
That's right.
Man, woman, man.
And all you got to do is learn how to assert yourself, and truly that attraction will happen.
Yes. Thanks so much for watching today.
Awesome. Thanks.